Jared sort of told us emotionally how he feels about the ending, which you guys know about. How do you feel? Do you feel satisfied with what's going to happen?
I do, but it took me a while to get there. When we were in the room and the idea came down the pipe, and that was, everybody was kind of signed off on it. My reaction was more like, okay. And I'd struggled with it for about a week or so, and I realized I was like, I'm too invested. I'm too emotional. I'm too close to this character, to see anything with finality on it is just it's hard to digest. And I talked to a few people about it and got some clarity on it, and I tried to look at it from a different perspective. And I now have come around to being like, oh no, this is a really good ending. This is satisfying. So yeah, I think the big kind of looming mountain to climb is going to be that final episode, and we have an idea of what we're going to do, and already knowing that is going to take some mental preparation.
So you know the ending.
We have an ending right now. Obviously, we're 9 months away from that. Things could change, but we've all kind of signed off on an ending. And Jared and I flew out to LA about a month and a half ago, and sat down in the writers' room, which we've never done in 15 years, and said, "Okay, how are we going to do this?" And they knew we were coming. They were prepared. They had all the writers in there, and they gave a full pitch to Jared and I. And it was heavy. It was emotional.
Sure.
And it will be emotional. And Jared seems to think he's like, you can't please everybody. Not everybody's gonna like it. I don't know. I think I'd be hard pressed to see if somebody was just like, no, that sucked.
So you guys truly had a hand in this ending.
Yeah, I mean and that was what we wanted to do. We didn't want to just be like, oh, I don't care. It's been 15 years,
It's so important to like.
It's so important to us, and we really truly care about these characters and about the story, and they've been a part of our lives for 15 years now, and it just I'm very protective of Dean, and I will always be. Like Jared said on the panel, like these characters are a part of us, and will always be a part of us. So I'm looking forward to tackling that monster. So when we went to go see the writers in LA about a month and a half ago, it was the pitch for what they think the ending should be, and it was really real that we were having that discussion with everybody that really crafts this show, and I had trouble with it. For some reason it didn't go down easy, and about a week later I was like, man, I'm like, why am I having so much trouble with digesting this? And I called an old friend, and
was his name Eric?
It might be.
we heard a little birdie told us that you were to speak to somebody.
Yeah. And I told him what the plan was, and I needed some clarity, and he gave it to me. And then I called Bob and talked to him a little bit about it, and he gave me some more clarity, and now I'm like pumped up about it, and I think it's going to be great, and I think it's going to be very emotional.
You're kidding? No, really?
Yeah, in fact, that last day is. I believe we're already planning to schedule the final scene the final day of production, and I believe it'll be an added day just for that one scene, which.
Yeah.
Because you know it's going to take a lot of takes to get through it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be really tough, hanging those keys up.
How are you feeling about the ending now that you know what it is?
To be honest, it was I had trouble digesting it, and it took me a while to kind of understand, and it didn't come to me on my own. I made a few phone calls to some folks to get their opinion and ask them why am I tripping over this, and I realized I'm just too close to it. I'm too close to these guys. I'm too close to the story, and for any sense of finality to that, I wasn't willing to accept it. I've now gotten some clarity on why this is a great way to go, and that's given me a lot of comfort.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Given the long run of the story, the series, and many directions it's taken over the years, are you pleased with the way it's going to end?
Oh, you had to throw that one down. I've talked about this a little bit before. Some of you may have heard this, but we went and sat down in the writers' room over the summer, and that's the first time we've done that ever in 15 years or 14 years, I guess. And they gave us the pitch on what they had thought or what they were planning to do for the end of the show. And I heard the pitch and I was like, okay. And at first I was kind of, it didn't sit well with me. And I went home, I slept on it, thought about it for a few days, and I was like, I don't know. I wasn't digging it, and so I was talking to my wife about it, and she was like, "Well, you should call somebody and talk to him about it." And I'm like, "Well, who? Everybody that was, was there in the room. Like they're all on board." And she said, "Call Eric Kripke, who created the show, who's not on the show anymore. He's off doing the Boys, which is a different show, which is fantastic if you haven't seen it. It's great." So I called him up and I said, "Hey man, you built this world. These are your characters that you created. This is how we're gonna wrap it up. I'm having a problem digesting it and I need your take on it. Just from an outsider's perspective who understands the world as well as he did." And he said, I'm getting on a plane right now, let me think about it, I'll send you an email. Great. So I got an email next day, and he broke it down in a way that really made sense, and he basically reminded me, he was like, "You're too close to it. You gotta step back and look at it from an audience perspective, from a fan perspective, and think about what the characters are gonna go through, what the story's gonna go through, and how that is going to settle once all the dust clears." And I thought about it, and he was right. And now I really am excited about the ending of the show, and I think you guys will too. And again, if at first you're like, "What?" Take a minute, step back, and look at it maybe from a broader perspective, and think about how other endings might have fallen a little short or a little flat compared to what we're doing. So I hope you guys like it. We're going to try our best to knock it out of the park, like we always do. You guys have been with us for a long, long time. We don't want to let you down. I don't want to let myself down. I don't want to let my friends and our cast and our crew down. So this is not us just kind of drifting off into the night. This is us going out with as big a fireworks show as you can possibly have.
I'm just gonna tell you this: when I got pitched the ending, it took me about 2 weeks to come to terms with it.
But I guess that would have
If
been
that helps.
true of any
So
ending.
doesn't like in a
I don't know.
You can't just leave us on this. You gotta give us more.
You say plead the fifth. It's pleading the fifth. The season leading up to the ending, we do know the ending where it stands now, but the season leading up to it is, we've opened a hole in hell, so we're going to see a lot of things we've sent to hell in the past. So we're going to have sort of a who's who and what's what of things that have been in our past, which is something that Supernatural can kind of uniquely do, and it's not jumping the shark because it's also usually fan favorite episodes, and our favorite episodes are when we kind of have a throwback. And then hopefully in the ending, and I'll say this, I'm not going to say the ending obviously, but I think any season of the last 14, if you were to ask what the finale was while we were filming episode 2, that's not what the finale ended up being. We're going to bob and weave, and Supernatural's always kind of been able to gauge the temperature and do what's best for the show and best for the story. But what I want for Sam and Dean Winchester, if the show is going to end, and it's going to, is for them to have some form of peace, whatever that looks like. If that's on a beach, great. If that's dead, great. If that's in space, great. If that's opening a bottle of bourbon or something, great. So any of the above. I would love to have Sam and Dean have some sort of peace that they have.
And do you guys have a last, a message to your fans going into season 15?
Thank you. That's all I got.
Nothing ever stays dead in Supernatural.
Something I'd change about the character, probably his diet. Because at this point, Dean is more likely to die from heart disease than a vampire. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, there we go.
True story.
Favorite creature from the show? Ooh. I don't know. There's been so many really good ones, and even ones that I got to direct. There was. I guess I got to say that me personally, I always like playing Dean going into a vampire nest, because I kind of feel like he understands it the most. He knows how to battle these things, and he has fun doing it. I think he truly enjoys that kind of a hunt. So that's, yeah, I'll go with the easy answer, and that's vampire.
Yeah. So during the hiatus between season 14 and 15, Jared and I went out to LA and sat down in the writer's room, which I think is the first time we've ever done that. We sat there and listened, and I didn't think it was going to be it wasn't like a brainstorming session, or it was like, this is what we have, take it or leave it. And I kind of walked out of there just uneasy. I don't know whether it was just the fact that I just heard the ending of a show that had been going for 15 years, and I just, too close to it to really accept a finality to it. But it certainly wasn't, it wasn't settling in as easy as I had hoped. And I struggled with it. And this is no secret. I've shared this before. So I had a conversation with Kripke about it. This is going back a year, over, maybe a year and a half ago. He just kind of put things in a perspective that really helped me kind of identify why I was having trouble with it, but also why it was a really great idea for an ending. And so from then on, I was kind of all in.